Hello, 大家好, and apa khabar semua? It's Friday, and you know what that means. We have another interesting lineup of your weekly gaming news roundup. And on this week itself, it's actually quite hefty. We will be talking about the PlayStation 5 UI, Cyberpunk 2077's latest trailer, something about Nintendo dropping their Joy-Cons prices, BioShock's latest game, and more. So stay tuned, and let's get the show going. On the first news we have for you guys this week is Genshin Impact breaking their $100 million record. And mind you that this game has been out for only 2 weeks. And on the last episode we talked about on the podcast, their budget for the entire game is $100 million. This means that the game has broke their $100 million record and they are in the route to breaking the 1 billion renminbi. That is equivalent to $150 million. Well, mind you that this game has been out for only 2 weeks, it's a free-to-play game, and they are just breaking records after records of their highest grossing games. And on Twitter, according to user Daniel Ahmad, the largest cluster of players of Genshin Impact are China, Japan, Korea, and USA. Genshin Impact is the second highest grossing game on iOS in its first week. The game has been downloaded more than 23 million times on iOS and Android. And this is one of the biggest mobile games that might change how we get AAA title free-to-play mobile games in the future. Again, Genshin Impact has been the talk of the town. Everyone is playing it. Everyone is just asking, what the hell is Genshin Impact? Well, if you want to know more, find out on the episode last week. Next up on the news, we have Sony's revelation of their latest PlayStation 5 UI. And from the UI itself, we have seen a lot of interesting highlights. For example, we've seen this new system called the Control Center, which provide users almost all the information you need for your PlayStation 5. And some of the highlights here includes checking your friends list, managing your controller's status of download, joining a friend party and games, and you can also share screenshot with spoiler option. What this means is from the video itself, we've seen basically like a Discord channel kind of chat group where you can just join a party with some of your friends. You can have like a voice chat, and at the same time, you can actually see your friends streaming the game that they're playing. And according to Sony, what they're doing now is, and I quote, rebuilding the entire software stack from the console to the network just to make your user experience a lot faster. We believe the less time you spend waiting to interact with the system, the more time you will have to spend playing games. Another highlight that I want to highlight is this thing called the activities bar. So if you're looking at the screen here, the activities bar is basically a pop-up of an estimate time that you need to complete your current level. If you're looking at the video now, what you're looking at is basically they playing Sackboy or Little Big Planet. You can see on the bar itself that shows you the estimated time needed to complete the current level. You basically can view the objective. And if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you are able to bring up this thing called Game Help. And what Game Help does is basically show you a screenshot or video clip of the current level that you're at, just to guide you on the solution of the level. Well, that's kind of interesting because if you're looking at Little Big Planet, it's a puzzle game. If you are, well, I wouldn't want to say that you're not intelligent enough. If you are under the age of 10, you might come through some really difficult levels and you just don't know how to get over it. And hopefully Game Help will be there to help you solve the problem. Moving on, the next bit of news that we have for you guys this week is something along the lines of BioShock. So according to GameSpot, BioShock will be coming out with a brand new game called, well, there's no name for it, right? But all we know is it's going to be a sci-fi element with like RPG element. We talked about it on the podcast earlier today. It's basically what we have is something along the lines of Outer Worlds, right? And if you play Outer Worlds, it's basically the same thing. It's a sci-fi RPG game where you can just explore different planets. But knowing Irrational Games, knowing BioShock, if you're a fan, you know how mindful the game story can actually get. So we don't know much about it. All these are not rumors because Take-Two Interactive, the parent company for Irrational Games, has announced that they're looking for a senior producer for their next and upcoming games. So if you think that you have the requirements, go to the link below and see that if you can be the next Irrational Games producer. And last thing on the news, we have Cyberpunk 2077. Well, we are kind of avoiding the whole hype on what we expect from Cyberpunk, knowing that the game is coming out exactly a month from this recording. So are you hyped for it? Because I know that all the Epic Arcade boys is super hyped and looking forward to the game itself. This week on the Night City News, we saw two different trailers. Basically, the first one is for the cars shown in the Cyberpunk world, and the second one is the clothing shown in the Cyberpunk world. So starting with clothing, we have we have 4 range of clothing from Kish, Anthropism, Neo-Militarism, and Neo-Kish. And according to the trailer itself, Kish is basically, well, new age fashion. It's basically your punk rock kind of style with a lot of neon colors. Anthropism is basically, if you don't have style, that's the style for you. And my favorite, neo-militarism, is basically tech wear. You are in this really nice military outfit, really nice corporate outfit, and you're all black. And that's what I like most. And lastly, we have Neo-Kish. And that's basically hype wear. You know, think of all that super fashion brand like Supreme. I'm not a fashion guy, so I can't really comment on this. But Neo-Kish is basically hype wear for the rich, the famous, the VIP. It's extravagant, it's loud, it's leopard prints, it's crazy. And interestingly enough, when we talk about cars, we got to see how life is like in Cyberpunk 2077, because we have different classes of cars from economy, executive, sports, heavy duty, and hypercars. Well, if you have been playing GTA 5, you know what all this category is. Basically, a real life example for economy car is basically like your Toyotas, your Hondas, your, I don't know, it's just economy cars, okay? Executive cars is something along the lines of like your Buick. I think what's other examples we can give for executive? Mercedes, Chevys, and when it comes to sports, it's basically like your fast cars, right? Your Lambo, your Porche, and your Ferraris. And heavy duty is trucks, tanks. You get the idea. But what I really want to highlight here is Johnny Silverhand's car. It's a 1974 limited edition Porsche that you might get in the game. Not much has been announced for it, but it's a collaboration between Cyberpunk 2077 and Porsche. I don't know, man. We saw the trailer, we saw the car. It's silver. It's a classic 911 Porsche with like the back samurai like painted on the back of it. It's just crazy how Porsche is actually into the whole hype of Cyberpunk 2072. Whoa, that's a mouthful. So what we know so far is the game is coming out on November 17th. We saw the world, we saw the gameplay, we saw the clothing style, we saw basically everything you need to know about Cyberpunk 2077. Epic Arcade boys, again, really hyped. Are you guys hyped for it? Are you hyped for it, Joe? Right, everyone is crazy hype about it. So, well, look forward to, well, the release of the game. So that's all the time we have for you guys this week. We talked about Sony PlayStation 5's latest UI. We talked about Cyberpunk 2077, Genshin Impact, BioShock's latest game, and now we're giving it back to you. So, dear listeners, if you're looking at this video, put it in the comments below and tell us, are you a fan of the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox? And if you're playing Genshin Impact, how is the game so far as a free-to-play game? Tell us all in the comments below. And before I go, I just want to take this time to thank you, like that 10 loyal viewer that watches all this video and the podcast itself. I just want to say thank you. And as a thank you, we, the Epic Arcade Boys, is giving something to you. And what we're giving out is basically 100 ringgit worth of Steam voucher code. Not just Steam, we are giving Steam voucher codes, we're giving Google Play voucher codes, and we're giving iOS, wait, what's it? The Play Store? No. App Store, the iOS App Store 100 ringgit vouchers. So for you to find out more on how to get your hands on the 100 ringgit voucher, go to our Instagram at Epic Arcade Pod and you can find out more there. And that's all the time I have for you guys this week. I have been Kelvin Tay, and with me in the studio behind the camera we have Afiq K, and on the producer side we have Joe. That's all the time we have for you guys this week. See you on the next one.